So this past week there are 3 setups that I took, and in those 3 setups it showed me a very important or a very good confirmation that when you take the setups. But then the difficult thing is I did not stay till the whole leg was formed. Okay, and I do not know why. I think it has gotten to my target, which is 5R. Okay, it has gotten to 5R, and I just dashed on the trade. I left it for another entry. So this is the first USCHF 2-hour time frame. Well, let me use 4-hour time frame. Okay, so this is the first. Now I don't think anything is confusing on this particular chart. I think everything is clear. You could see every single thing. Now this was where I took my entry. I honestly do not know why I left this trade. Honestly, I honestly do not know why I left it. So this is where I left, because there is still a possibility of this market getting to this point. But then I've left and I don't plan to go back unless I see a very good pullback that gives me a second chance for an entry. Then I could make an attempt to it. Alright, so what happened here? Uptrend, we've seen. Swing failure, we've seen. Engagement, we've seen. Engineered liquidity, we've seen. And then the POI, we have seen. So this is what happened here. And then boom, the class setup. Take it and we move on. So by the way, I do not actually, just to add something, I do not take this particular trade immediately at this point, because I was still contemplating is going to drop lower or something. So I basically just waited for a new lot to form right here, then took the entry on fair value gap. That is what I did. So this is from where I took my entry. Okay, this is from the point I took my entry and then targeted 5R from there, which is here. You can see it's 4.94. Basically 5R for me. So this is what I took. Because I was contemplating on that particular move, that particular higher trend move, something. So yeah, this is whatsoever that happened here. Made quite some money. And the second pair is NZDCHF, I believe so. Second pair is NZDCHF. Okay, yeah, JPY and CHF actually. Let me go to CHF first. So yeah, this is CHF. 4-hour time frame again. Now there is something I observed with this NZDCHF. It gave an inverse head and shoulder pattern. That is my entry. It gave an inverse head and shoulder pattern. So this was the analysis. This chart here looks a bit, I don't know, but I basically just looked for its clear liquidity at this point. Then I could now find the entry. Alright, so let me remove this and then show us. I think you understand what happened at the higher time frame. There was a break of structure at this point. There's a break of structure at this point, and then an engagement and another block. I don't know why I don't have the energy to explain in details, but then I think for the last pair, I'll now do the explanation in details, because it will actually help a couple of persons know what they are doing. So this is liquidity zones. These are liquidity zones. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. If you remember, I made a video on the 5th rule. Okay, the 5th rule, when the market in a trend line liquidity or a horizontal liquidity, if the market retraces into that same liquid zone for 4 times, and then on the 5th time it basically breaks that zone, and either, okay, some persons call it accumulation, manipulation, and distribution. That is actually what it is. Not some persons call, that is actually what it is. So This has been the accumulation, then the manipulation, then eventually the distribution up until this point. So I think that's actually the name. So basically waited, then it was swept, and then I found my entry. Now, how did I find an entry here? That was when I also that it formed an inverse head and shoulder pattern. So I'll be showing you on 1 hour time frame this inverse head and shoulder pattern. Here is okay, here it is. Here it is. If you know the normal head and shoulder pattern, it is this. It is we have the left shoulder, and we have the head, and then we have the right shoulder. And eventually when the market comes back down, it either comes down from here and then moves, or it stops maybe halfway between here and moves whatsoever the market decides to do. But then the inverse of it is this left shoulder, the head, the right shoulder, then a continuation. Now it is now looking like downtrend. That's not what I intended. Okay, so let's make it more like it. Doesn't look like it. Yes, this is better. This is better. So this is more like it, the inverse head and shoulder pattern, which is exactly what formed here. And that is how I took my entry, actually. So we have the first left shoulder, we have the head, and then we have the right shoulder. And then continue the pullback here. And I was now in this pullback that I took my entry. So I don't know, I shall let this trade very early. The chart was becoming too clumsy and stuff, so I had to just dash. I don't know. I think I took my entry from here. I mean, I took my take profits. Yeah, I think so. Forgotten how many R it was, but it wasn't enough. It wasn't much. But then I am not the market maker, just a retail trader, so I don't mind. I've made the money and I'm out. It's just 3 hours or something lesser than 3 hours, but that is what it is. And there was a continuation at this point. Whatever that happened after then, I didn't actually mind to start looking at it or something. But actually, I think I should have allowed it to rumble. Has happened, has happened. Alright, so the last pair is NZDJPY, which is what we saw earlier before now. And I do not know what network is doing. Yeah. Let me take a look at the chart as soon as possible. Time is up. Okay, so in this same chart, it's the same thing. Basically, you can see on the 4 time frame that everything that happened network. Everything that happened is still the same thing with the previous one. Sorry, I said I was going to discuss in details, but then I am rushing this particular video because the time is up and then the network is messing around. So this is exactly what happened. Whatever that happened here is also inverse head and shoulder pattern. So you could actually use this pair to correlate the other, which basically means whatever is formed on NZDJPY could also be what is forming on NZDCHF. So it's also based on correlation. You can actually learn and know correlation so you can go along. So this is left shoulder and the head, and the right shoulder and then the buy. Okay. So yeah, that's the same thing. Alright, so I've come to the end of this particular video. I did not look to discuss in full everything that happened in this third chart, but you could open your trading view and then look through it and also learn a thing or two as you are making your analysis or as you're watching this video. Alright, see you in the next video and thank you for watching. Do us leave a like, subscribe, then everything involved.